What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to talk about reading man or zone coverage pre-snap in NCAA Football 06. More specifically, the first read I make as soon as I break the huddle. Now, you've heard me say this a million times in my Dynasty videos. As soon as I break the huddle, I can see a certain player and I know exactly what defense they're in, if it's man or zone. That just makes my decision making a little bit easier, and that's what we're going to cover today. Now, I've talked about this a couple of different ways in the past, one with a blog post and one with an older video. I want to update and replace all that with this video, and one of the main reasons I'm doing that is I'm starting a new quarterback series where I'm just going to just throw a bunch of videos out there covering broader topics to help you make better decisions on offense. So let's get started. I want to talk about man coverage first. If you don't know what man coverage is, it's very simple. It's when you got certain defenders defending certain offensive players. For example, let's pretend this defense is playing man. What that may mean is these three linebackers are supposed to defend a certain player. For example, this linebacker is defending this halfback, this linebacker may be defending this tight end, and this linebacker may be defending him. Now, you don't see any cornerbacks on the screen. They're over here on the outside and such, but they are supposed to defend those wide receivers. And the safeties, they kind of do a little bit of everything, but in general, man coverage is all about a defender supposed to be defending specifically a certain player. Now let's look at the actual reads that I look for as soon as I break the huddle. Let's pretend that I am Stanford on offense, and the easiest thing to look for when it comes to identifying man defense is to see where the cornerbacks go with the receivers. Here we are running a particular twins formation. We're going to go with two wide receivers on this side. So if the defense is playing a 4-3 nickel, it doesn't really matter. If their cornerbacks are going over there with them, that means they're definitely going man. And this is a clear example of what's going on here. You'll always see the corner running to his spot, not sliding facing you. So you see both of those corners going over here. They got two wide receivers coming over here. That means they're definitely going man. That's pretty simple. The most common thing you're going to see, though, is seeing wide receivers on both sides of the ball. So here we are, we're back on offense, and notice right here, both of these corners are running very hard to their spot. That means they are going man defense. I always pay attention to the one on the right. He's a little more consistent in that identification than the one over here, mainly because there are certain defensive plays that have this corner running a blitz, which it'll look like he's going zone. But always pay attention to this guy on the right. It's definitely going to be man, because you see he's still running hard to his spot. So when you go up to the line, you definitely know they're going man after that, and now you can make your decisions. Zone coverage is very simple to understand. All it is when certain defenders are defending certain zones or areas of the field. We could pretend that this defense is in zone. This cornerback may be sitting right here. This linebacker may be sitting in this area. This linebacker may come over here. This free safety may come back there. This safety may go back there to form a cover two. It's just when the majority of the defenders are sitting in a particular spot, and hopefully they're trying to cover the entire field. Now let's talk about zone. It's an easy identification. As soon as you break the huddle, focus on the corners. Notice this right corner. Always focus on him. He's more consistent. All of a sudden, he faces you, and he slides to his spot. That is definitely zone. Even if you notice this corner over here running hard to his spot, again, I would just focus on this right corner, and that gives you clear identification. So again, he's facing you, he's sliding to his spot, and that is an easy identification that it is zone defense. Here's another example of what zone defense will look like. Regardless if you got all of your wide receivers on one side or the other, still focus on the corners, especially the one on the right. He's facing you. He's sliding to his spot. It is definitely zone coverage. Here is an interesting scenario where things can get a little confusing, but it's still the same of what we just covered. We've already talked about man. We've talked about zone. What happens if you flip plays? The defense can flip plays themselves. Now, we've already talked about man coverage and zone coverage. Look at here. This corner on the left, he is sliding to his spot. We know that's zone. At least we think it is. But if you look over here, this corner is running to his spot. Is it man? I suggest if you're going to flip your play, which is what we've done here, flip the look, whichever corner you're looking at. So if you're flipping your play Look at this guy instead. So what's going to happen here is we're going to snap the ball. And you notice I actually flipped this play. Normally this combo is over on the left side. And we're going to snap the ball, and we're going to see what happens here. Boom. They are in zone coverage. If you flip the play, focus on the corner on the other side, they're going zone. But look what this guy is doing. He is blitzing. That is something we're going to cover in another video, is when you see other pre-snap reads and players moving around. This guy is blitzing, so that means it's zone coverage. If he's blitzing, he still may be running to his spot. If it is zone, again, he will be blitzing. So that's just something to think about. The last thing I want to talk about is formations that do not have any wide receivers. It can be a little deceptive when you see this. And as we've already discussed, man, if the corners are running hard to their spot, definitely man. If they're facing you, sliding, shuffling to the side, definitely going zone. But if we're going to a goal line, you notice right here. So these corners are facing you, they're sliding to their spot. That kind of assumes, hey, they're going zone. But if you're going goal line, that is not necessarily the case. So they may still be going man. I can go ahead and tell you this is a man defensive play call because I'm Arizona and I've called this play. But that's just something to think about. When you don't have any wide receivers out there, you just don't know particular if they're going man or zone unless you motion somebody, which you can do that. Or you may see some of these guys move around a lot more than usual. So I wanted to point that out. All right. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll talk to you guys later.